we've experienced quite a few things, such as observation. The obviousness of what is to be observed. That is the issue we need to work on. If we want to have a consciousness so refined that we will be able to pay attention to the smallest stuff or the densest stuff. So people who were plugged with wires had electroencephalogramic charts of movements in there. And I'm going to do somewhat a drawing like this to speak of the software that goes in you, okay? You always have energies, consciousness, thoughts. This is like software in the matrix, okay? It is the belief in system and thoughts like the thoughts of flesh, the thoughts of mantra, the thoughts of words, the thoughts of memory, the thoughts of desire, the thoughts of at every level, the thoughts of living, the thoughts of in my mind I want to live, the thoughts of in the energy body there is life. You know, the different levels of this thought of life, okay? So, at a physical level, you have automated systems, okay? Okay? And all one over the other, and some are big, and some are very small and very dense, okay? So you have all these vibrations in nature continuously, tons of them at the same time in your body and in your vital plane, getting experiences of information, and it works on itself. Why? Because you don't have to think to lift for your arm or put it down, okay? That's the physical part. Then you have other software which is starting to go in your mind, okay? Emotional, mental experiences. And you have these waves of thoughts, okay? They're extremely refined, extremely small, and there's a lot of them. But some of them intertwine with the 5 senses that are the software of the body. This is why I made 5 streaks that went up and 5 of these that interact with the subconscious mind. Okay? Because you've got these softwares running on their own, and 5 of them interact with the senses, which is the software of the body and the life body, the physical and the vital body, that work. That operate, okay? Do you understand this? And you got stuff here over it. Now it's starting to look like some kind of bad pizza after digestion. But you get that these are waves. And then you have the subconscious thoughts, which are big waves. You have an actual thought in your subconscious mind. Then you have a conscious thought. And what is important to know is that this rules, it's always on. And it would at one point affect this. Okay? And this happens before you have actual subconscious processes. And a subconscious response is something that happens before you have a conscious process. So, someone tells you something, before you're conscious of what it means, you have already subconsciously interpreted it, and you're starting to build a reaction. So, before you understand something at your aware level, you already have a reaction happening that you're not even aware of. Okay? So it is the pompous, arrogant ego's mind saying, I'm conscious of everything, bullcrap. Because there's something here. There's a bar here. There's the faith and denial bar. Why don't we think? Why are we not aware of the subconscious processes? And I just drew one so we could keep seeing, because if I make all the waves, it's going to be like this everywhere, okay? You have so much stuff ongoing on its own. You're not even aware of. It's just going on. And you have these peaks of very large, individual, easy to perceive processes when, let's say someone was sitting in a chair with the wires all over, and they showed the photo of a cat, and before the person was aware it was a cat, her experience of a cat was awakened, and the decision was made here. Will it go through? And usually it does, okay? So much information just goes way down, okay? All the information right now, you have one major process of awareness, which is I'm speaking the temperature of the air. What about what's going on inside you? What about all the emotions that are all there? The hundreds of emotions that you have not yet integrated. The reactive defenses. What will happen before you can even think someone is about to ram you in a car and you press the brakes, a little shut a wheel. Because this is a nervous reflex you programmed here. Okay? You trained so that in your flesh and in your subconscious mind would have reflexes that will operate on their own. We did this on purpose. We want to have very quick reflexes that will keep us alive. And we have very quick reflexes of denying someone trying to tell us that they're in love. We have very powerful reflexes trying to prevent the feeling of abandonment. We have all these things operating and we're not even aware. Because of what I have faith in, I perceive. What I deny, I don't. So, what you want to do is lower your denial bar. Okay? Softly and slowly. Because right now, in the speed of the moment, what you're conscious of is this. Because of the personal growth we do, there's stuff here. The higher part of the responses you have in your mind. That start to say, oh yes, there was this buried lack of faith, and there was this fear of abandonment, and there was this wanting something I could not have. There was this guilt at having something I should not have. Okay? You're starting to get, and when you do integration, what you do is you dig here. You consciously decide, I'm going to pay attention to the processes. You understand this? To go further, you know the place I was telling you between the emotional and the vital place? To go further in these systems, it takes time. This is why we do exhaustive observation. What you'll do is that for a moment, you will lower this bar so that your denial process will be there. Okay? So only the natural functions will still be out of your awareness, in the sense that your heart will keep beating, your brain will keep wanting you to breathe, your neurons in your brain will keep functioning, all that is supposed to keep functioning, because this is really what we want. Okay? It will stay functional. It's okay. You want to go find these higher processes between the emotional and vital plane that are your greatest fundamental fears, your greatest experiences of denial. And this is done through patience, exhaustive observation. when you prospect, like a prospector, you go dig with your tools in integration. Most of it is these big subconscious processes. I'm really afraid of something. I lack faith in something. Okay? But you want to go further and start to go in these very, very refined processes that are all going at the same time. So how do you isolate one wave, one experience of software running on its own? Fix your attention. When I said fix your attention on the concept of control, remember that a few hours ago? You need to be in control, your fear not to be in control, and all this wanting to do it your way that did not happen, the responses that happen. You just take one experience, control, attempt at application, lack of it, fear of not having, whatever, and you sit there and it takes time. So that slowly you will sink in the more refined, okay, the more refined pulses. Does that make sense? Okay, so you most of what happened is just here. It's the surface, okay, and everything else is just taking for granted it will work on its own. But you have tons of stuff that is taking decisions, preferences, what you really want, what you really don't want, that you're not even aware of. Okay, most of your brain activity you ignore completely. Once in a while, that means once every second, that's once in a while. There's a very rare moment, let's say a few times per second, that information will go to your complete awareness. That's a few times per second. Millions of events working in every part of you, every part of your body, your software, your nervous system, working on its own. And this is accumulated training and conditioning you have. Okay? So if you were born in a situation, it's not here, but here, that you have to dug up. In a sense, if after a few years in your adult life, you went to work somewhere, and you got these little habits that you say, professional conditioning. You understand this? Is this an expression that exists in English? Okay. Professional deformation. How do you call this in English? A deformation that you got by repeating something in your...
Institutionalized.
Yeah. From your point of view. Okay. In any case,
it's a conditioned response.
Yeah, conditioned response. Okay? If you do it because of your work, it's professional conditioning. Okay? Okay, you got this kind of level of thing. It operates here, and you have these processes here. Okay? Let's say you were born in a family extremely Catholic and extremely strong on marriage. You might do integration all you want. At this level, if you have sex without marriage, you will feel guilty. Even though everything in you proves it and everything is okay, and you know that sexuality and marriage are two different things that just go very well hand in hand. If you have a sexual experience out of the institutionalized marriage, and you were born and you were conditioned deeply, it's here, it's deep. So you might do integration and your mind understand it's okay. Why do I still feel guilty? Why do I still feel bad? Why do I still feel that my family, my environment will hate me, will despise me for not respecting conditioning? Because it's deeper than the level you've integrated. It's burned, okay? So you need to patiently repolish the surface so that you'll free yourself from this debt of integration. Huh? And you need to practice this level of integration not with force, because this is the core of your being. Okay? If you take a heart that's made of stone and you take a hammer and a pike and you just go king because there's a chip of it you want to take off, it's just going to split in half. You're going to break your heart. You need to very slowly massage it, and soften it so it becomes clay. Then you don't take a hammer and a pipe, you just take a little tool like a finger and you try to even it out, and then you take something and you try to put your heart even again. And it needs to be softly, patiently, gently softened to be made malleable, to be made workable again. Okay? Because you've been for years carving your little soft heart when you were young. And it hardened between teenage and adulthood. Our heart hardens. Our system of emotionally implicated structures become hard. Okay? This is why it's difficult to get rid of habits that you gained before teenage, before adulthood at least. Okay? It takes time and patience. You have to be soft on yourself. Sink down. So you will take a process, one of those that are deep, one of those that you feel, I'm like possessed by negativity, or I'm possessed by lack of self-worth. You can try all the wisdom about destroying self-worth and the stuff I said about it. You can apply it. You're going to clear part of you. But you're going to walk with this little thing inside you that doesn't deserve to breathe, you know? Because you were conditioned. Or you will be walking around convinced of your nature not being good enough. Okay? Or you're going to have something that is so very deep. Okay? And the lower layer of the green part, okay, we receive stuff from past lives. Okay? There's stuff, new software that the soul, just because it builds you that way, you have them. And extremely subtle, and this is not a few years of your youth, okay? These are lifetimes of conditioning. So it takes time and patience to reheat your heart, to reheat to clay, and to softly, okay, this is why we say it's exhaustive observation. Exhaustive observation done 20 minutes for a normal mind brings you back somewhere at the lower subconscious level. So if you really want to change the life-defining or the multi-life defining patterns, at least 1 hour fixed on a single thing, letting all the crap above it all raise, everything that you have above that layer on that subject will come back up. Okay? You have tons of stuff. Until slowly this will be revealed. And you will not understand. You will not have a good reason. You will not have any single reason to have this experience. You'll just have abandonment and rejection, so not good you are. Okay? Like sitting in a state of misery. Okay? Understand this?
Yes.
So, this is why it takes time and patience to do the integration in the immortality process, in the approach of long life. But then again, you have time, and it gives you more. Okay? And this is what keeps the immortals immortal. Okay? They don't just apply technique. Each day, they go sink down and keep this clean. What imprints you, what imprinted you in the past, and what imprints you every day as you go on, at the most subtle level that you can't grasp with your conscious mind, or even in integration or very surface-like process. But integration will get you there, of course. Integration will work. But integration, you need, your mind is implicated and it wants to go fast, because in integration we definitely lack patience, don't you? We just want to know now and be gone with it, okay? So yes, the tool works fast, but if you want to start to transcend all this stuff, you're gonna need more patience, okay? It is like an integration, but it's extremely soft. And it is not a requirement of the mind to understand. It's a slow reawakening of something that is hardened in place, So it will soften, and while it softens, it will liquefy, and you keep observing and flow in you, and it will gasify and dissolve and disappear. Okay? Long time. Yes?
So do you mean that we would do 20 minutes of number one, then 20 minutes of number two, 20 minutes all in one day?
No. I'm not talking of the mantras.
What are we talking about?
Observation.
Only to look at.
I look at control, and I stay there. Tara got enlightenment after 4 or 5 hours of fixed in one experience. Tara was how much is mind, how much he wanted to control with mind. Okay, how much she wanted to control, and all the fear of not having control and stuff like that. His big issue was to control information. Okay. So he sat there for hours in a row while we were on a plane to Spain, and when we landed, he wasn't like, okay, and he stood there. He never went back, okay, because it was not artificial enlightenment that comes because you just spent a weekend in bliss and stuff like that, which is good because it gives you an idea what it is to be enlightened. It is enlightenment because he had conquered what made him not be enlightened. He conquered the major thing that kept him under the state of enlightenment. Okay? So eventually you want to go to that extent of work on yourself. You take one thing that you feel, okay, first you integrate. You've integrated everything regarding your sexuality. But there's still one thing. Okay, if many periods of integration did not work towards one pattern, do the observation. And that means hours. One at a time, at first. And when you're tired, you do an afternoon. I look at my pain of not having the right to experience sexuality. Okay, the guilt, the shame of sexuality. You just you sit there and you wait. And you observe. And you breathe. Keep breathing, and there's just that. Okay? Can't do this while driving. Well, except for the fact that that's exactly what I did when I came here. I sat in death. Because I was going to teach you immortality, I had to reconquer the experience of Mara, the demon of death. Okay? Which is something I'll explain later. But I went back again into the state and I reconquered it. Like, it was easier because it wasn't the first time, but still, all the demons that come up at once, they just try to hit you. Nature. Does this help you understand the very small and refined level of automated software conditioning you have? How about the noise in society in the city? The noise has an effect on your mind as much as on your body. It's burnt there because you spent your life with that noise. Okay? The solution is not to cut the noise of the city. It's to sit in observation until you are freed from its effect. Then there will be noise, but you will have taken time to look at it. Okay? Yes? Because of the refinement of what goes on in you naturally without your awareness. You need to take time. Okay? The more you have faith that everything will be okay, the less fear you'll have of discovering what goes on here. Okay? Because faith pushes down and denial pushes up. Okay? This bar lowers the more you have faith. Everything will be okay, I'll do it. But I'm so afraid of losing myself in vacuity. Have faith. Go sit and lose yourself in vacuity. Okay? Even with the pain it does on the solar plexus, because in vacuity all your attachments just break off. Even because of the fear, the emptiness at the level of the heart, you just don't feel yourself, you know you do not exist anymore. All these things, the more you have faith, the more you accept to go sink down until you get to the point of vacuity, which is non-processed, which is also higher, because from vacuity here, we came. Anyway, forget about this for Heavens and Hell video will explain. So, in any case, you got this? Alright. Read. And of course, the more denial you have, the less you look at yourself. Is it true that the more pride you have, the less you look at yourself, the less humble you are to do so? Is it true that the more ashamed you are, the less you want to know something about yourself? The more afraid you are, the less you just want to do anything regarding personal growth at all. Denial is that. So with denial, you will take the time to go sit in pride as long as you have it. You will sit in shame as long as you have it. And you will sit in fear as long as you have it. Through exhaustive observation. Somewhat like focused vipassana. Okay? More active than vipassana, less active than integration. You just keeping your intellect is useful simply to know where to put attention. Everything else is just a revelation of the truth. Okay? There's a lot of tension in our abdomen. Do you feel? There's a lot of tension because we've been speaking of what is very deep, and what is very deep is completely conscious that we're referring to it, and it fights, it reacts. Look at the fighting when you'll have time, of course. Okay. Some seminars, they give one teaching, and you spend the entire seminar applying it. Oh, that's so wonderful, we just kept ourselves in joy. Or that's so wonderful, we just sat in denial for 2 days, and it went away. But you don't want to sit 2 days in a single experience. You want more and more. You want to have all this stuff, and then you'll do the practice you prefer. So just go back home, and you'll have time at home to do your stuff. So we won't take the time to do a lot of observation, such that it is meant to be half an hour, 2 hours. Okay? We'll do one thing at a time. Breathe and relax. Now I'm going to shoot you mantras one after the other, briefly explaining and allowing you to experience it. But until you get the first 4, your body will not be as affected by the others, okay? Your mind, although, will be immediately affected by these mantras. What is truth? It's an experience from the point of view of someone that believes truth is perception. From the point of view of someone who knows through experience that truth is an experience, I teach that truth is something higher than experience. Truth is something that is the only thing that cannot be experienced. Okay? Try to understand this. If you believe that what you see and measure, that's the truth. No, these are facts. The truth is what you experience, and you have feelings. When you get acquainted with this, you say, the truth is what I feel, what I get. That is your experience. The truth is the one thing you cannot experience. It is the thing that experiences. Okay? That's high wisdom. You won't get it until you've done the step of ceasing to be a human and exist as a soul. As long as you're a human in your set of belief, more than that, in your actual way of living, the more you're just a human, you'll need to just go to the experience and know you are a soul. When you finally arrive at the point, I am soul, then I can teach you higher wisdom of not even existing as a soul, to go beyond that. And that is the most frightening experience a human can go through. Okay? It is a final abandonment. Father, why have you forsaken me? Okay? Can't face this until you've resolved the human issues. It just won't work. Okay? You'll feel fear and you'll think, I got it, 7 bhumi. No, probably doesn't work that way. Because I know people who thought they were far away on their spiritual path until they got to the 7th bhumi. They said, oh shit. that is far. I mean, it's so far. The 7 bhumi is called the gana far, those who are far away. The 7 bhumi, you're so far away in your experience that there's not even a reference. Okay? There's no more reference, and that's final abandonment. That's difficult. And once someone asked me, what is the most wonderful state that you can be in? And I said, abandonment. The most wonderful, extraordinary emotion that we can experience is abandonment. You are so alone in abandonment that nothing else exists and oneness comes. Okay? So the highest experience of bliss I got was when I was at the deepest misery of abandonment, with not the thought of misery. Okay? It would have been misery for someone not prepared. Okay? Because in this final abandonment, what we are abandoned of cease. No more separation.
So when Jesus said that, he then experienced oneness?
He experienced oneness before that. We start oneness at the 2nd bhumi. I mean, you can go oneness from time to time. It depends. It's just oneness in the human is a side effect of the ongoing process, and it's temporary. He experienced oneness just before that. Me and my Father are one. And he had probably experienced oneness since his teenage. But at that point, he was absorbed in that state. Whereas the rest of his life, he was a normal human like anyone else. Okay? Same thing with the Buddha, who experienced emotional response when he was told that his village had been destroyed by the warriors and all the people he knew were dead. Such as the feelings he got when he was disappointed. The first time he tried to teach Buddha, it was a failure. This guy rejected his teaching. That's the beautiful way to say it. Maybe the guy said, just go fuck yourself. What the hell are you talking about? And I don't know. It's not written. It's just written. The first person the Buddha approached after enlightenment, he rejected the Buddha. That's why the Buddha needed to find expedient means. He said, okay, I need to find ways. Because just as it is, truth, they won't take it. And then he still had a bit of identity. Because when he went to see his friends, the 5 people that he left, his 5 friends that he left, he went back and they were referring to him as an equal, and he said, no, you can't refer to me as an equal because I'm Tathagata and you're still in suffering. Okay? And once this was established, they understood the greatness of his experience. He could teach. But there was still this little aspect of, right after his enlightenment, he was not used to it. So his princely attitude from his human life came back. Okay? No, you can't refer to me as an equal. That's not oneness. Okay? But he still said it. And then he said, sorry guys, where everything is one and we're all equal. Okay? He took it over. Okay? He had sporadic experiences like that. Okay? And this is in the writings everywhere. Okay? You can't say that he ate pork, this is why he died. Okay? No, you can't. Didn't die because he ate pork. He died because he ate bad pork. That turned. And he knew. And so I'm going to eat it anyway and use this as a means to disappear. He knew that the food was bad. He ate it anyway in gratitude that this was his way out. That's how I'm going to terminate the life of this body. It was a choice. Right? I've been speaking of what is truth. Truth is higher than what you experience. It is the essence that transpires through your experiences. Okay? It is something that is not experienced. It is something that you just get because there is experience. But if I try to explain this wisdom to you, to the level I perceive and experience it myself, you won't get it because words cannot transmit this. So I tell you, truth is not a fact, it's an experience. So you accept that truth is something subtle. Now you go to the experience and say, okay, well, I used the word experience at one time to mean something. Now I'm going to mean something else. Because there are no words to describe it, so I use words to refer to experiences in a way that will trigger this experience in you. And then if I need to use these words in a different way, I will redefine them. Okay, imagine now love is that thing. Okay? Or imagine that joy is that other thing. And go there. You know? I'll give you other definitions to try to think about words, because words is the means we have to communicate. I'm doomed. We have to do that. If I simply gaze at you, you will get the higher power of my experience right away. You will want to take your life away too quickly. Okay? Don't think at the level of Buddhahood until it naturally comes. You can't force yourself there. Okay? The Buddha experienced stuff like that. That's not very well documented, but some people were affected by his teachings, which were the truth, as it was meant to be at that time. And they took their leave for a while, for 500 months or something. They just took off and leave. Okay. They manifested themselves a way to leave. They couldn't just bear the truth as it was. They went to have a suffering, an experience. And 200 of them came back saying, no, we got enlightenment with this guy, and in this other situation, we're just turning around like before. They went back. So there's a little episode like this. But that's because he raised his consciousness at a level that not everyone could bear. Okay? And he even explains it very detailed. I have not revealed to you the truth for 40 years. Because not enough people were ready. Now enough people in my crowd are ready, I can say it. And he gave the Lotus Sutra. Okay? What is true? Please stop thinking. Okay? If I say what is true, stop thinking. Okay? What is Ananda?
Yes.
Bliss. You get bliss. Joy and love, making love, fusing, and explodes. And in this fusion, it makes a reaction and creates more energy. What is mind? Consciousness. Everywhere. Mind at the physical substance, mind at energy substance, mind at emotion, mind at thought, mental intellect. All that is mind. All right. There are 3 aspects of enlightenment that are called truth, mind, bliss. Sat is truth. Chitta is mind, in the great signification of mind, not in the intellectual process, in the mind as whatever holds a process of thought. There's mind in the body, there's mind in nature, there's mind everywhere. Ananda is bliss. Okay? Sat, Chitta, Ananda. Now because of grammar, a T at the end with a C that continues becomes a D. Sat. Because Sat Chit is hard to say. When we say Sat Chit, the D, it's easier. This is why there is the Sanskrit grammar. Satchitananda. Okay? Satchitananda. The true mind of bliss. Okay? Those who enlighten, mostly in the Brahmanical way, meditate on Satchitananda. Okay? Om Namah Satchitananda Aim. Bija mantra at the end of this. Aim is the experience of the highest wisdom, which is contemplating truth with a blissful mind. Okay? The contemplation or the acknowledgement, Om Nama, of truth with a mind of bliss. Okay? Aim. Okay? Om Namah Satchitanandaya. Om Namah Satchitanandaya. For mystical reasons that I don't explain now, focus a bit on the heart, everywhere but mostly in the heart. The mind here, not the mind that, the mind here. Om Namah Satchitanandaya. Om Namah Satchitanandaya. Om Namah Satchitanandaya. Om Namah Satchitanandaya. And you will need to let go. Okay, you will need to transcend. You will need to just contemplate. Om Namah Satchitananda. The real truth, the one and only experience of truth, which is discovered in this state of the highest contemplation, beyond experience. The truth that cannot be experienced. Once you're done with experience, you just have it. You know, when you're done with perception, you have the experience. When you're done with experience, you have truth. Okay? Truth is the unexperienced. As much as I told you it was experience. Okay? Depends on where you're at. Okay? I know this enlightenment wisdom is good. Usually I teach this stuff to enlighten people. I told you I was not going to respect your ability to cope with the wisdom, not the speed at which you could absorb it. I'm just giving you the wisdom I usually teach to enlightened people, okay? So they can get to self-realization, be incarnation of Vishnu, okay? Om Namah Satchitanandaya. So many people use the mantra hoping to get there, but without the wisdom of what it is, it takes more time, okay? Om Namah Satchitanandaya. Nothing in your intellect will be able to understand this. You grasp it because there's something subtle in the wisdom I just gave that kind of makes sense. There has to be something higher than the experience from which I extract the truth. Okay? There has to be something of a more refined nature. Satchitananda. Aim is a bija mantra of this high wisdom. Okay? Aim. Okay? The experience of the matrix at the highest level. Matrix is Shakti. The highest Shakti is Saraswati. Aim is her bija mantra. Okay. Let's take 5 minutes.